This is the Dodgers Postcast, your instant game reaction for the Los Angeles Dodgers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hello again, and welcome into the Locked On Dodgers Postcast on the Locked On Dodgers YouTube channel, the place to hang out when every game is done. I'm Pete Fox, covering sports in LA, dating back to 2007 for ESPN LA and NBC Sports Radio. Back in the home studio. It feels good to be home with my two computers. When I'm on the road, I only have one, and it just doesn't feel the same. So back from our little spring break trip to Salt Lake City, and got to see my old buddy Dave Joseph, who I worked at ESPN LA with. He is now the PA announcer for the Utah Hockey Club, and says that the fans of Salt Lake City are fantastic and they love their sports there, especially basketball and hockey. They show up even though the the Jazz are terrible and the Utah Hockey Club is not terrible. They're struggling to make a playoff spot on the outside looking in right now. Which is not where the Dodgers are at this point in time. Not on the outside of anything. They're on the top of the hill, still undefeated after a 6-1 win over the Atlanta Braves. Tonight's episode of the Locked On Dodgers Postcast is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when you win your first $5 bet. Well, the Dodgers cruised once again, thanks in large part to the long ball. So let's get right to this.
This is what you'll be talking about.
You know, I think it's similar to what we'll be talking about, or what we were talking about after Saturday night's game. The Dodgers have an embarrassment of riches, and they're hitting the long ball with regularity right now. They are locked in at the plate, except for maybe Shohei Ohtani. Is Shohei Ohtani in a slump right now? Is that unfair to say? 2 games in a row without a base hit, 286 batting average, and a slugging of 619 for Shohei. That's a slump. But did walk again twice tonight. He walked twice on Saturday and twice tonight, and scored a run, but struck out 3 times, the old hat trick for Shohei at the plate. So, I'm not worried, but he's definitely not as hot as some of these other guys are, like Mookie Betts, 1 for 5 today, batting .385. Teoscar Hernandez is red hot, although his batting average is not great, 227 with a 545 slug. Went deep again today. That got the scoring started for the Dodgers.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
I mean, I feel like the turning point in any game for the Dodgers of late is when they score first. It's right. Even if they're behind, like they were against the Tigers in most of those games, the second they scored, that was the turning point of the game. Everything started coming around to their side of things. Teoscar Hernandez got things started in the bottom of the first with a 436-foot bomb to center field. Shohei had walked to start the game, and then Teoscar came up and launched one, made it 2-0. In the third, Conforto doubled to center. Mookie scored, and at that point, I feel like everyone felt like the game was over, because the Atlanta Braves are coming into this game winless. They had been shut out in back-to-back games by the Padres. So, you're up 3-0 in the third inning, and you're kind of like, do we need to score anymore? I mean, not really, but I guess we will. Tommy Edman hit a sac fly to center, and Teoscar scored. That made it 4-0, and Will Smith, who's been hitting the ball well, another RBI single in this one. Kike homered late in the game. His second of the year, also homered in Japan for the Dodgers. So it's good to see that he's off to a good start, because last year it wasn't quite as hot a start for Kike Hernandez. This year, his average is not great, 167, but he's slugging it at 667. So hasn't played a ton. I believe this is, what he 6th, 7th at bat of the season for him. So he's played 2 games, grand total of 8 at bats this season. So he'll get it on track as far as the batting average. But again, at the end of the day, does anybody really care if Kike Hernandez has a high batting average? No, that's not what Kike is about. He's not going to be a starter. He is a spot starter here and there. He's an energy guy for the Dodgers when, you need someone to step up there in a clutch moment. He's proven to be that guy for the Dodgers. So it doesn't really matter if Kike Hernandez is batting 167 or 367. There's Mr. Seabad dropping some knowledge that we haven't heard in a while. Fire Dave Roberts. Just kidding. Well, one of the big things I take away from this game, honestly, is that the Braves are winless. How crazy is that? They're healthy for the most part, and I can't believe that they couldn't get one from the Padres. I also don't like hearing that the Padres are off to a good start, winning again tonight. They're undefeated as well. So they're 5-0, while the Dodgers are 6-0. So that's I feel like that's going to be the story of this season. The Dodgers and Padres battling back and forth, and don't care 187. I think we have to keep saying this as long as we can. 162-0 still in play. It's brilliant. I mean, I almost, during the spring, we talk about there's an old adage in spring training baseball. You don't want to win them all and you don't want to lose them all. So when you start off hot in spring training, it's almost like you want to just tank one and lose it. I feel like that for the Dodgers a little bit, maybe. Do we feel like we should just lose one? I don't know. Not yet, I guess. Let's keep it going. Let's get to double digits. That'd be fantastic, especially against the Braves. I do feel a little bad for them, but not too bad, right? So what? They'll figure it out. It's not our problem. It's their problem. Andy Pajes, yes. Made a fantastic play in center field to rob a home run. I don't even know who hit that ball, but he climbed the fence there and brought one back into play. As far as his batting, I don't know if I will agree with Nando here that he's awful. He still is young and he still has some issues. I'm not a huge fan of his swing. I think it's ugly. 0 for 4 tonight, batting 158. I think it's too long. It still has to be shorter. But there are glimpses of him shortening up a little bit at times. He still swings from his shoe tops. He gives it 110, and you can't argue that. He can definitely hit it out of the yard. He just hasn't found any sort of rhythm and regularity. As for Max Muncy, got a base hit tonight, his second of the season. So let's lay off Max Muncy being awful. Another guy that I don't know that we care that his average needs to be higher. It's 95 right now. If it's 220, we're all fine with that, and that's not too far away from 95. He'll figure it out. Don't worry. It's the Locked On Dodgers postcast on the Locked On Dodgers YouTube channel, the place to hang out when every game is done. 6-1 the final. Tonight we'll talk about the pitching performance of Tyler Glasnow. Got the start, got the win right after this on the Locked On Dodgers postcast. Thanks for watching. We appreciate you allowing us to be your source for your team every day. Tonight's episode of the Locked On Dodgers postcast is brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. March Madness is here. I think we're down to the final four. And because I was paying attention to other things yesterday with the Dodgers having the day off, I really wasn't paying attention to college basketball. But if I heard correctly, all 4 1 seeds into the final four. Is that true? That's craziness. But it's not something you see all that often, but March Madness is here and they're on to the final four. So it is time. If you haven't been paying a ton of attention to the tournament, you've been waiting for the final four. It's now the time to get in on the action like never before. New customers to FanDuel can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. That's 200 extra bucks to use on anything from buzzer beaters to whoever cuts down the nets. Not any Cinderella stories hanging around anymore. They're all gone. So go find a baseball team that you're a fan of, pick out the strikeouts for the game, the total bases for a guy like Shohei Ohtani. Look, he's kind of cold right now, and we know Shohei's going to break out at some point. So maybe tomorrow night is the night and you think he's going to have, a high number of total bases, like a home run and a double or something. So you could bet an over on his total bases. That's a fun bet to get. Or total strikeouts for the entire team or for the starting pitcher. Tonight, Tyler Glasnow had 8. I'm assuming that would be over the total projected number. So there's just plenty of fun things to bet on at FanDuel. So get in on the action now. Visit FanDuel.com and pay attention to what's happening with the college hoops as they head to the Final Four, and you can bet on who is going to cut down the nets. FanDuel.com. Run your game. Wait, I think run your game is someone else's tagline. Oops, sorry. Apologies to FanDuel. I don't know whose it is. It just stuck in my brain and I blurted it out. So FanDuel.com, the official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball, I think is what it's supposed to be. Anyway, Dodgers tonight with a comfortable 6-1 win. Tyler Glasnow was good, not great. He was definitely not the same Tyler Glasnow we saw against the Angels in the final preseason game of the spring. He was dealing in that game, and his breaking ball had some snap and some spin on it. And tonight we didn't quite see that, but
this is the Locked On Player of the Game.
Gotta give the Glasnow 8 strikeouts, 2 hits. You know, he wasn't dominating. He did have 3 walks. He wasn't unhittable, but pretty close. I mean, look, the Braves are struggling right now at the plate, and that made it a little bit easier on him being a little off. One of the 2 hits was a fastball. I mean, it was a curveball that was up and didn't break and bite like it's supposed to. But to strike out 8 over 5 and allow just 2 hits, that's a fantastic performance for him. 79 pitches. As far as the bullpen goes, Dreyer came in, 1 walk, 1 strikeout, the rest zeros on 16 pitches. Vesia was dominant, 1 inning, just 9 pitches, only 1 K there. As for Tanner Scott, gave up the home run, but had 2 Ks in his outing, 15 pitches. It was the first home run that Tanner Scott gave up to a left-handed hitter since 2023. So that's kind of remarkable. He's been off to a bit of a shaky start, but as they pointed out in the broadcast, better to have him finding his way now than in July or August or September. So he'll get comfortable, and we won't worry about him too much. I feel like this bullpen is just completely feeding off each other, which is really, really nice to see. You get 5 innings from your starter, which we'd like to see 6, let's be honest, maybe even 7. Much better than an inning in the third like we saw on Saturday from Sasaki. So 5 is nice. And then the bullpen comes in for the final 4. Garcia pitched again, 1 inning, 21 pitches, struck out 2, the rest zeros, gave up 1 hit. So all in all, another nice performance from the bullpen. And this team is just rolling along. Again, I look up and down and I say it's just an embarrassment of riches, and it's a good spot to be in. And let's hope they stay hot. I know Mookie's in a good spot right now, still trying to put on some weight and recover from that illness he had in Japan, but it doesn't seem to matter too much. He's still stroking it, and his swing is perfect. It's only going to get better. I guess that's the good news as he puts on, another 15, 20 pounds. Teoscar Hernandez is definitely locked in. Conforto looks good. I've always really liked his swing. Will Smith is off to a fantastic start, batting .467 with a slug of .730. By the way, Mookie Betts' slug is at .846 right now. So you've got at any given time, we talked about this on Saturday. I'll mention it again because it is a good spot to be in, and it is what you're looking for. And I think, the people that are upset that Max Muncy's off to a slow start and then Andy Pajes is not raking the ball all over the yard, it's fine. We don't need them to. Last year there were times when the bottom of the lineup was good for the Dodgers. They were good. If the bottom of the lineup was struggling, they were struggling. That is not the case thus far this year. at any given time on this team right now, you got 4 to 5 guys that are hitting the ball hard. That's all you need, 4 to 5 guys that have a good day if the pitching keeps up. And that's the strong suit for the Dodgers this year. Let's be honest. They're hitting the ball like crazy. Another multiple home run night tonight as Teo went deep and so did Kike. But if, 4 or 5 guys in the lineup on any given night are getting on base, getting base hits, even Shohei Ohtani, 2 games without a base hit, but he's been on base 4 times over those 2 games. So that's fine as he tries to, get comfortable, find his swing, whatever, get back on track for, trying to defend that MVP title. I think the stolen base thing is going to be a whole different thing this year for him. He had 1 already. I believe that was on Saturday against the Tigers as they wrapped up the sweep there. I don't believe it's going to be 50 plus again, stolen bases, especially if he's pitching. He'll be focusing on that far more than he will be on stealing bases. But he's going to continue to hit. He's going to continue to mash balls all over the yard the way that he has all of last year and pretty much thus far this year. So you have 4 guys show up, hit the ball hard: Betts, Hernandez, Conforto, and Will Smith. That's all you need. Max Muncy will find it. Tommy Edman's been fantastic. 1 hit tonight, 1 RBI, batting .250. His slugging percentage is .625. So that's another guy that I don't know that, kind of look at him more for his defensive prowess than his offensive prowess. Fantastic player on both sides of the ball, and I love having him on this team. I think maybe he's a guy that we take for granted just a little bit, but he's awesome. So everything's rolling right now, man. I mean, these are the what do they call it? The salad days. Everything is fantastic. Don't exactly know what that term means, but one of my old partners used to say it all the time. And I just now say it. I don't even really know what it means. I'm gonna have to look it up. But this is definitely the salad days for the Dodgers. 6-1 the final tonight. Back at it again tomorrow, normal time, a little after 7:00. On the mound. Who starts tomorrow? Are we going to see Shohei Ohtani pitch tomorrow? We're not. It's Dustin, don't call me Ginger Guard May, against Chris Sale, Cy Young Award winner Chris Sale. So that's going to be a heck of a matchup. Dustin May back from the Tommy John surgery and looked good in his final preseason outing, and hopefully he keeps that up. So that'll be nice to see what we get from him. First pitch a little after 7:10 to be specific. And then on Wednesday, they start, I think, at 5:08. So a unique start time to wrap up this series. But we'll be here tomorrow, the Locked On Dodgers YouTube channel. And wherever you find your podcast, we come on right after the game and break it down, give you some instant reaction. If you need more in-depth reaction than what we've gotten into tonight here in our new, shorter, splashier version of the Locked On Dodgers postcast, make sure you check out Jeff and Vince on the Locked On Daily Dodgers podcast on the Locked On Dodgers YouTube channel. They'll give you at least a half an hour, maybe a little bit more, and they'll break it down for you as well. They do it every day, Monday through Friday. Appreciate you guys watching. Appreciate you listening. Thanks for the comments. We'll be back here right after the game is over tomorrow on the Locked On Dodgers YouTube channel. Take care. Have a good night. We'll